Welcome back today. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting as we unveil the top 10 most valuable ultra-rare commemorative quarter-dollar coins in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just a curious enthusiast, you won't want to miss this list. These coins not only hold historical significance but also boast some staggering price tags. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. First up, the 2000 South Carolina Commemorative Quarter, which honors the Palmetto State's admission into the Union in 1788. If you're a coin collector or just curious about the value of this quarter, stay tuned as we explore its history, design, rarity, and current market value. The South Carolina Quarter was part of the 50-state quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999. Each quarter features a unique design representing one of the states, celebrating its history and heritage. South Carolina was the 8th state to ratify the Constitution on May 23, 1788, making it a significant addition to the Union. Ratifying the Constitution was a monumental event, and South Carolina played a pivotal role in shaping the early governance of our nation. This quarter serves as a reminder of that rich history. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the South Carolina Quarter. On the reverse side, you'll see the iconic palmetto tree, which symbolizes the state's nickname. The Palmetto State flanking the tree are the words South Carolina and 1788, celebrating the year of statehood. The tree is depicted alongside a soldier's breastwork, a tribute to the state's role in the Revolutionary War. The obverse features the traditional portrait of George Washington as seen on all quarters minted since 1932. The year 2000 is also displayed on the coin, signifying its minting year. This quarter has a P mint mark, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. While quarters from other mint locations such as D for Denver were also produced, the Philadelphia mint coins can sometimes be rarer due to lower production numbers or higher collector interest. Interestingly, the South Carolina Quarter is considered rare in extra fine condition. What does extra fine mean? Coins in this category show only slight wear, retaining most of their original details and luster. Collectors highly value these coins for their excellent condition. Now, let's talk about the value. As of today, a 2000 South Carolina Quarter in extra fine condition can fetch anywhere from $150,000. However, if you happen to have one in uncirculated condition, it could be worth significantly more, with prices reaching up to $300,000 or even higher depending on the collector's market and demand. To give you an idea, some auction sites have seen these quarters sell for upwards of $500,000 when paired with rare collector sets or special packaging. Factors that influence the value include condition, rarity, demand, and whether the coin has any unique characteristics such as minting errors. To sum it up, the 2000 South Carolina Quarter is not just a piece of currency, it's a slice of history that reflects the state's significant contribution to our nation. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer, this quarter offers great potential for both historical appreciation and monetary value. Next up, the 2002 Indiana State Quarter. This coin isn't just any quarter, it carries stories of its past and exciting possibilities for collectors. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or just curious about what makes this quarter so special, stay tuned. First, let's set the stage. The Indiana State Quarter was released in 2002 as part of the 50-State Quarters program, a series initiated by the U.S. Mint to celebrate each state's unique heritage. Indiana, known as the Hoosier State, became the 19th state to join the Union on December 11, 1816. The design of the quarter features the state outline, along with the words Crossroads of America, which reflects Indiana's significant role in transportation and trade. The reverse side showcases the iconic Indiana state flag. Now, let's talk about the mint mark. The 2002 Indiana Quarter was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The D mint mark signifies it was produced in Denver. Coins with mint marks can often hold more value, especially in pristine condition. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these quarters were released with notable errors. Error coins are a collector's dream, and the Indiana Quarter has a few varieties that have emerged. From double dies to misaligned strikes, these errors can significantly enhance a coin's value. Speaking of value, let's discuss condition. The term extra fine is crucial in the coin collecting world. A coin graded as extra fine will exhibit very minimal wear, retaining most of its original luster and detail. Collectors highly prize coins in this condition, and they can fetch premium prices. An extra fine Indiana quarter, especially with a D mint mark and error characteristics, can command a remarkable price in today's market. So, how much is a 2002 Indiana quarter worth today? In extra fine condition, these coins can range from $300,000 depending on their specific characteristics and demand. However, if you find one with an error, the value can soar. Certain error coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. For example, a double die error quarter from this series has been known to sell for upwards of $550,000, $100,000 or more. Always check the latest sales data and auction results to get a sense of the current market trends. In conclusion, the 2002 Indiana quarter with a D mint mark, especially in extra fine condition, is a treasure worth exploring for both new and seasoned collectors. Whether you're looking to add it to your collection or sell it for a profit, understanding its history and market value is key. Next up, the 2004 Florida Commemorative quarter with the Denver D mint mark, and, if you're lucky enough to have one with an error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. So, what makes this quarter so special? Let's take a look at why the Florida State Quarter, released in 2004 as part of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program, has collectors buzzing, especially if you've got one with the D mint mark and errors. Florida joined the Union 1845, and in 2004, it was honored with its own commemorative quarter as part of the series that celebrated all 50 states. This coin was minted both in Philadelphia and in Denver, but the D mint mark coins tend to be more sought after. The reverse of the quarter features Florida's iconic state symbols, Spanish galleons, a space shuttle, and the state outline celebrating its rich history from exploration to space travel. Now, let's talk about what can really increase the value of this coin errors. Error coins are highly collectible, and some 2004 Florida quarters have been found with unique mistakes from the minting process. These errors can include things like double die errors, where the design is imprinted twice, creating a shadow effect off center strikes, which are always in demand, cracks or cuds, where a portion of the coin's design is interrupted by flaws on the mint's die. These mistakes can turn a regular quarter into a highly sought-after collectible, fetching hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the condition and rarity. Break down the potential value. For a standard 2004 Florida quarter in very good condition with the D mint mark, you're looking at anywhere from $430,000, depending on the grade. If yours has an error, like a double die or off-center strike, the value skyrockets. Some recent auctions have seen these error coins sell for upwards of $790,000. That's right, what looks like a small mistake could mean big bucks. So, how do you know if your 2004 Florida quarter has an error? First, check the date and mint mark. You're looking for a D just below the year. Then, grab a magnifying glass or, better yet, a coin microscope for any signs of doubling in the lettering or unusual spacing on the design. You should also examine the edges for any strange cuts or off-centering. Now, you might be wondering, where can I sell these coins if I have one? You have plenty of options. Some of the most popular places to sell rare coins are auction houses, online marketplaces like eBay, or even specialized coin dealers. But remember, the key is to have your coin authenticated and graded before selling. It will make a world of difference in the final price. Timing can also affect how much your coin is worth. If error coins are in high demand, or if there's been a spike in collector interest, like we've seen recently, now could be the perfect time to sell. Always keep an eye on the market and compare auction results before parting with your treasure. For a seasoned collector or someone just starting to dig through their change, the 2004 Florida quarter with the Denver mint mark and an error could be a real gem. The value of these error coins has seen a steady rise in recent years, and who knows, yours could be the next big hit at auction. Take a close look at your change, especially those 2004 Florida quarters. You could be holding onto a valuable piece of U.S. minting history without even knowing it. Next up, have you ever wondered if there might be hidden treasures in your pocket change? Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and collectible pieces from the State Quarters series, the 2005 California State Quarter. We're not just talking about any quarter here. We're specifically focusing on the 2005 California Quarter with the Philadelphia Mint mark, that tiny letter P on the front, and some era coins that are sending values skyrocketing in today's market. These rare gems be sitting right in your coin jar. A little history. California State Quarter was part of the United States Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Each quarter was designed to commemorate a state, and the California Quarter, released in 2005, is special for a few reasons. The side of the coin features the natural beauty of Yosemite National Park, with the great naturalist John Muir standing in the foreground, while a California condor soars above. True tribute to California's rich history and environmental legacy. Also see the year 1850, which marks when California officially became a state. And just like that, in 2005, this quarter was released into circulation. If you flip the coin over, you'll notice that mint mark we mentioned earlier, a tiny P, just under George Washington's head. This P signifies that the quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main mints in the United States. Here's where things get exciting. Not every California quarter is created equal. While most quarters are perfectly minted, there are some out there that were struck with minting errors. In the world of coin collecting, error coins can be worth big bucks, sometimes much more than their face value. Error coins come in all shapes and forms. Some of the most common types include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on wrong planchets. But when it comes to the 2005 California Quarter, a few specific error varieties are gaining the attention of collectors. It can range from subtle mistakes that only an experienced eye might catch, to more obvious flaws. For example, if you happen to come across a quarter that was struck off-center. Where part of the design is missing or shifted, you could be looking at a coin worth $500,000 or even more, depending on the severity of the error. So, what is the value of a 2005 California State Quarter today, especially if you've got one with a Philadelphia Mint mark and an error? Let's talk dollars. In the current market, a standard 2005 California Quarter in circulated condition isn't worth much more than $1,000, maybe slightly more if it's in pristine condition. But if you have an error coin, things change dramatically. A California quarter with a noticeable off-center strike error can sell for anywhere from $150,000, depending on the condition and the amount of the off-center strike. Double die errors. Some have sold for over $500,000 at auctions. Just recently, an error California quarter in fine condition sold for $600,000 at auction. That's over 1,600 times its face value. And as collectors become more aware of these errors, demand is growing, which means prices could keep climbing. The Philadelphia Mint-marked coins, in particular, have gained attention for these errors, so it's always worth taking a closer look at the coins in your collection. Now, let's talk about how you can identify these error coins in your own collection. To start, you'll need a good magnifying glass and some bright light. You don't need anything fancy, but having the right tools can make it easier to spot subtle errors. Check to see if the design looks uneven or if part of the image or lettering is missing. Double die errors. This occurs when part of the design is doubled. Look closely at the text and images, especially around Washington's profile and the California 1850 on the reverse. Planchet errors. This is when the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal. These are much rarer, but they can be worth thousands of dollars. Even if the error is minor, it's worth getting your coin professionally appraised if you think you have something special. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, it's clear that there's a lot more to these California State Quarters than meets the eye. Especially if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare error coins in fine condition with that little P mint mark. If you've got a 2005 California quarter lying around, take a closer look. You might just be holding onto a small fortune. Next up, the 2005 Minnesota Commemorative Quarter with the D mint mark, specifically the noise error version. This little coin could be worth a whole lot more than $120,000, so stick around to learn what makes it so valuable and why collectors are going crazy over it. First, let's start with a little history about this coin. Released in 2005 as part of the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program, the Minnesota quarter celebrates the state's rich history and stunning natural beauty. You'll see the beautiful design of a tree-lined lake with a fisherman in a boat, which symbolizes the state's famous 10,000 lakes. At the bottom, the coin proudly shows the year Minnesota was admitted to the Union, 1858. Now, while the design itself is beautiful, what has really made this particular coin jump in value isn't the scene or the state it represents, it's the minting errors found on some of the coins, particularly those minted at the Denver Mint, which are marked with the D below "In God We Trust." One of these errors is the famous noise error, also sometimes called the extra tree error. And this little imperfection is exactly what collectors are after today. So, what exactly is the noise error? Well, if you look closely at the area between the trees on the reverse side of the coin, you might notice something unusual, an extra marking that wasn't meant to be there. In many cases, it looks like there's an additional tree or a doubling effect on the trees, often referred to as the extra tree error. But these aren't actually trees at all. It's a die error caused during the minting process, resulting in extra, often faint, markings that can appear to the naked eye like additional details in the design. Now, here's the exciting part. This type of error coin is highly sought after by collectors today, and it's driving up the value of the 2005 Minnesota quarter, especially those with the D mint mark. Error coins are unique by nature, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for a piece of minting history. But how much is this coin worth? Depending on the condition and the severity of the error, these Minnesota noise error quarters can sell anywhere from $200,000 or even more. Some particularly rare or well-preserved examples have gone for as much as $720,000 at auctions. Coins in fine or very fine condition with a prominent error tend to be in the higher end of that spectrum. So, if you're lucky enough to have a 2005 Minnesota quarter lying around, it's time to grab a magnifying glass and check for that error. Look closely at the trees. If you spot that extra mark or doubling effect, you might just be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. Remember, not every Minnesota quarter will have the noise error, and even if you find one, the value will depend on the condition. But whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, always keep an eye on those coins in your pocket change. You never know when you might stumble upon a valuable error coin like this one. Next up, the 2005 Kansas State quarter with the P mint mark. But that's not all. There's a rare error coin variant that's capturing collectors' attention and skyrocketing in value on the market. This is the Kansas quarter, part of the U.S. Mint's 50-state quarters program, released in 2005 to honor the state of Kansas. You can see the bold design featuring a buffalo and the iconic sunflower, both symbols of the state. But what makes this particular quarter stand out today is not just its design, it's the error coins from this year that are fetching big bucks in the collector's market. Before we dive into the specific error coins and their value, let's talk a bit about the basics. The Kansas State quarter was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, with the Philadelphia mint marked by the P on the coin. Millions of these quarters were produced, but not all of them were flawless. Some had errors, mistakes made during the minting process that are now highly sought after by collectors. And if you happen to have one in fine condition or better, you could be sitting on a small fortune. One of the most famous errors on the Kansas State quarter is what's called the "In God We Rust" error. Yep, you heard that right. Due to a grease-filled die during the minting process, the T in trust didn't fully appear, leaving the inscription "As in God We Rust." This striking mistake has made these coins highly collectible, and their value has steadily increased in recent years. If you spot this error on your 2005 Kansas quarter, you could have a coin that's worth significantly more than face value. Even in circulated condition, these error coins can fetch anywhere from $300,000 depending on the condition. But if it's in fine or uncirculated condition, we're talking about even higher values. Now, let's talk about today's market value. The price of these error coins fluctuates depending on demand, but in recent years, we've seen them sell for hundreds of dollars in auctions and private sales. In 2023, for example, an error coin in near mint condition sold for over $400,000, and that's just for a single quarter that was originally worth 25 cents. And that's not the only error to look out for. There's also the famous humpback buffalo error, where a misstrike makes the buffalo's back appear abnormally raised. This variant can also bring in some serious money, often in the range of $700,000, depending on the condition. So, how do you know if you've got one of these valuable coins in your pocket or collection? First, you'll want to examine the coin closely for the in God we rust error or other misstrikes. You can use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect the details. Check the mint mark. Remember, we're focusing on the P mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint. Also, check the coin's condition. The more pristine it is, the more valuable it's likely to be. Once you've confirmed you have an error coin, the next step is figuring out where to sell it. You've got several options. You can list it on online marketplaces like eBay or specialized coin auction websites, where collectors are actively looking for rare coins like this. Local coin shops or coin shows can also be great places to sell, especially if you want to avoid shipping fees. Make sure to do your research on pricing before selling. Keep an eye on recent auction sales and listings to gauge what your coin might fetch. And remember, if your Kansas State quarter is graded and in great condition, you could be in for a pleasant surprise. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always worth checking your change and collections for these rare error coins. The 2005 Kansas State quarter with the P mint mark is a great example of how a simple coin can turn into a valuable collectible, especially with those interesting minting errors. Next up, super exciting, a commemorative quarter from 2001 that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now, and it could be worth way more than 25 cents. I'm talking about the 2001 North Carolina quarter with the P mint mark, and we'll also touch on some rare error varieties that are fetching big money in today's market. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get into it. In 2001, the United States Mint released the North Carolina Commemorative Quarter as part of the 50-state quarters program. It was the 12th state to be featured in this historic series, celebrating the state of North Carolina, which entered the Union in 1789. The reverse design features a depiction of the famous Wright brothers' first flight, paying homage to North Carolina's claim as the first in flight. The quarter was produced in 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But today, we're focusing on the P mint mark quarters, which was struck in Philadelphia. Now, if you have a North Carolina quarter with a P mint mark, you're in luck. This coin is generally common in circulation, but there are certain variations and errors that make some of them very valuable, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of dollars in the collector's market. When looking at your 2001 North Carolina quarter, condition is one of the first things collectors evaluate. Coins in fine condition, which means they've seen some circulation but are still in relatively good shape, can hold a decent value. But when it comes to coins with errors or special characteristics, that's where things get really interesting. So what should you be on the lookout for? Let's dive into some common error varieties that can make this quarter worth serious money. First up, let's talk about die cracks and cuds. These errors happen during the minting process when part of the die starts to break down, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin. Some North Carolina quarters have been found with die cracks on the Wright brothers' plane or around the rim of the coin, and those can easily bring in $300,000 depending on the severity of the crack. Next, we have doubled dies. This error occurs when the design is accidentally struck twice, resulting in a doubling effect on the coin's details. Collectors go crazy for doubled die errors because they're rare and highly sought after. If you find one on your North Carolina quarter, especially around the lettering or the plane's details, you could be looking at a value anywhere from $450,000 or more. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during minting and part of the design is off-center. Depending on how off-center the strike is, these errors can range in value from $700,000. Lastly, some collectors have found what's known as a struck-through error on North Carolina quarters. This happens when foreign debris or grease gets stuck on the die, and it leaves a weak or distorted area on the coin. These can fetch anywhere from $230,000, depending on the severity of the error. So, how much are these coins actually selling for today? Let's take a look at the current market. Right now, in 2024, the market for error coins is hot. A simple die crack error can go for $430,000, while a rare double die or major off-center strike could go for over $550,000 at auction. So, you found a 2001 North Carolina quarter that looks promising. What's next? The first thing you want to do is inspect it closely. Use a magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe to look for any signs of doubling, cracks, or off-center strikes. Who knew a simple 2001 North Carolina quarter could be worth so much, right? Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always worth checking your pocket change. You never know what kind of treasure you might find. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something new today, the 2001 North Carolina quarter, minted in Philadelphia, can be worth much more than face value, especially if it features errors like die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, or strike-through errors. Next up, the 2005 Oregon State quarter with the Denver mint mark. But what makes this coin so special? And why could a particular error version of it be worth a lot in today's market? Stick around as we explore the fascinating story behind the Oregon Commemorative quarter and what collectors are paying big dollars for. In 2005, as part of the U.S. Mint's State Quarters program, the Oregon State Quarter was released to celebrate Oregon's rich history and natural beauty. This coin marked Oregon's entry into the Union in 1859, and it features a stunning design depicting Crater Lake, the deepest lake in the United States, surrounded by the towering peaks of Mount Mazama. The reverse side of the coin, designed by sculptor Donna Weaver, beautifully captures this natural wonder. But while millions of these quarters were minted and distributed across the country, a small number of them have caught the attention of collectors for an entirely different reason, a mint error that has skyrocketed their value. Normally, the 2005 Oregon State quarter, minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, is worth only face value in circulation. However, in extra fine condition or uncirculated condition, these coins can already fetch a bit more from collectors. But there's something even more intriguing happening in the world of coin collecting with this particular coin, error coins. Error coins are unique in that they're often the result of a mistake during the minting process, making each error coin distinct and rare. Common errors can include doubling of the design off-center strikes or planchet issues. In the case of the 2005 Oregon quarter with the Denver mint mark, certain errors have surfaced that significantly increase the value of these coins in today's market. Collectors are always on the lookout for error coins, and if you happen to have one of these 2005 Oregon quarters with an error, you could be in for a big payday. Some of the most valuable errors include: one of the most sought-after error types is the double die error, where parts of the design are imprinted twice due to a malfunction during the die striking process. Look carefully at the letters or numbers on your coin. If they appear doubled or blurry, you could have a valuable piece on your hands. Sometimes errors happen before the coin is even struck, such as with planchet errors, where the metal disc that becomes the coin is flawed. These errors can lead to coins that are the wrong weight, shape, or even missing key features, and they are highly desirable among collectors. So how much is one of these error coins worth today? The answer depends on the type of error and the coin's condition. For example, a regular 2005 Oregon quarter in extra fine condition could be worth between $230,000 depending on the market. But if you've got one of those elusive error coins, the value jumps exponentially. Error coins with significant doubling can sell for hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes, depending on how dramatic the error is, have been known to sell for anywhere between $350,000, and coins with major planchet flaws can reach even higher figures, depending on their rarity. Recently, some of these error coins have fetched prices upwards of $400,000 or even more in auctions and private sales. If you're wondering whether that 2005 Oregon quarter you have in your collection is a valuable error coin, here's what to do. First, inspect the coin closely using a magnifying glass or microscope. Check for any signs of doubling on the text, numbers, or design. Also, Look for any off-center strikes or irregularities in the surface of the coin. For planchet errors, weigh the coin to ensure it matches the standard weight of a quarter. As coin collecting continues to grow in popularity, error coins have become a hot commodity. The 2005 Oregon State Quarter, with its beautiful design and potential for rare errors, is a prime example of a coin that can yield significant value if you're lucky enough to find one in your collection. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just starting, keep an eye out for those minting mistakes because one small error can lead to a big payday. Who knows? Next up, explore the 2003 Alabama Commemorative Quarter with the P mint mark specifically, one with an error that could turn it into a small fortune. If you're holding one in your collection or are looking to find out how much it's worth, you're in the right place. In 2003, as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, the Alabama Quarter was released, celebrating the state's admission to the Union in 1819. This quarter features the famous author, political activist, and educator Helen Keller, who is one of the state's most recognized figures. The reverse design, created by Norman E. Nemeth, also includes longleaf pine branches and magnolias, both symbols of Alabama's rich natural beauty. The obverse, like most quarters, features a portrait of George Washington with the date of minting, the word liberty, and in God we trust now. While every quarter from the 50 State series is valuable to collectors, we'll be looking specifically at Alabama quarters minted in Philadelphia, identified by the P mint mark, and what makes certain error coins stand out. So, what exactly is an error coin? Error coins are simply coins that were struck incorrectly during the minting process, making them unique and often very valuable to collectors. Common types of errors include off-center strikes, doubled dies, and die cracks, among others. But these errors are more than just imperfections. In fact, some errors are incredibly rare, and rarity is the key to understanding the value of these coins in today's market. While a standard 2003 Alabama quarter in uncirculated condition can be worth a couple of dollars, a coin with an error can fetch much more. And one of the most valuable errors found on the Alabama quarters comes from the coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the P. Let's talk about the specific error that has collectors on the hunt, the P mint mark Alabama quarter error. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of Alabama quarters, but some of these coins left the mint with significant defects that increased their value tremendously. One of the most notable errors found on the Alabama quarter is die cracks, which happen when the die used to strike the coins develops cracks from wear and tear. Coins with these cracks can sometimes appear with lines across the face or back of the coin, creating a unique pattern. Another error to watch for is doubling on the letters or the design, for example, extra lines in Helen Keller's name or the state symbols on the reverse. Error coins, especially those with clear visual discrepancies, are typically sent to coin grading services to be authenticated and graded. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So, how much are these error coins worth today? The value depends largely on the type and severity of the error, along with the condition of the coin. A 2003 Alabama quarter with minor errors can sell for anywhere between $600,000. Now that you know these coins can be valuable, how do you spot one in your own collection? First, get a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to closely examine your coin. Look for anything unusual, die cracks, doubling, or off-center strikes. Pay close attention to the lettering, the details on Helen Keller's portrait, and the state symbols. Even the smallest imperfection could be a valuable error. Once your coin is authenticated, you have several options to sell it. You can list it on eBay, contact a reputable coin dealer, or even consign it to a major auction house. Just be sure to do your research and get multiple appraisals to ensure you're getting the best price. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 2003 Alabama quarter is definitely one to look out for, especially those with rare errors that can significantly increase its value. Next up, we're talking about a quarter that's not just another piece of pocket change. This is the 2008 Alaska State quarter with a P mint mark, and more importantly, an error that could make it worth big bucks on today's market. That's right, this little coin could be hiding some serious value. Let's dig into what makes this quarter special and how much it's worth today. The Alaska quarter is part of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and ran until 2008. Each state got its own unique design to celebrate its history, culture, and natural beauty. Released in 2008, the Alaska Quarter features a powerful image of a grizzly bear catching a salmon, symbolizing the state's abundant wildlife and natural resources. You'll also notice the year 1959 engraved on the coin, which marks the year Alaska officially became a state. Now, if you take a closer look, you'll see the P mint mark just to the right of Washington's portrait. This tells us that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. While the Alaska Quarter was also minted in Denver and San Francisco, those coins will have D&S mint marks, respectively. The Philadelphia Mint is one of the largest producers of U.S. coins, so generally, the P mint mark isn't what makes this coin stand out. So what's the big deal about this 2008 Alaska Quarter, you ask? The secret lies in the errors that some of these coins have. That's where things start to get interesting and valuable. There are a few notable errors that collectors have been on the lookout for. Die clash errors. Sometimes during the minting process, the dies will clash without a blank coin in between. This can cause unusual marks or raised lines on the finished coin, often near the bear's claws or the salmon. Off-center strikes. This occurs when the coin isn't struck perfectly in the center, leaving part of the design cut off. Off-center strikes can vary, but the more off-center it is, the more valuable the coin. Double die errors. This happens when the coin is struck twice, causing a doubling effect in the design. Doubling is often most visible on letters or key design elements like the bear or salmon. For example, a coin in mint state condition with an error will be worth significantly more than one in very fine or good condition. But even in very good condition, an error Alaska Quarter can still fetch impressive prices. Now, the big question: how much can a 2008 Alaska Quarter with a P mint mark and an error be worth on the market today? According to recent auction listings, these error coins can sell for anywhere between $800,000 depending on the type of error and the coin's condition. Coins with more dramatic errors, like off-center strikes or prominent die clashes, can fetch even higher prices. For instance, a 2008 Alaska Quarter with a major die clash error sold for $300,000 at a recent auction, while another off-center error coin fetched for $80,000. It's incredible how much these small details can increase a coin's value. So, how can you find out if your 2008 Alaska Quarter is one of these valuable error coins? The first step is to carefully inspect the coin under good lighting and maybe even use a magnifying glass. Look closely at the key areas we mentioned, like the bear's claws, the salmon, and the overall alignment of the design. If you spot anything unusual, it might be worth sending your coin to a professional grading service to get it authenticated and graded. Remember, even small errors can make a big difference in value. Conclusion: the 2008 Alaska Quarter is a great example of how even modern coins can hold significant value, especially if they have minting errors. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, it's always worth checking your change for hidden treasures like this. Who knows? That quarter in your pocket might just be worth thousands of dollars. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of coins and collectibles. And drop a comment below if you found any error coins in your collection. I'd love to hear your stories. Happy collecting!